Welcome back to The Watch. And Nathan, I hear that certain game awards have happened recently.
Yes! I think they're still going on while we're recording this, but we don't really care.
No, neither do I. But, I mean, I kind of care. I don't, yet I do. The thing that I care about is just knowing if they're getting better or if they're getting worse. Like, are they actually awarding the games that have the merit that deserves the award? Or are they doing what seems to be more common with not only game awards, award scenes in general, where they award the games that tick the right boxes. And then if there's a bit of merit, that can kind of, guide them between the games that tick those boxes. But, I mean, the games that don't tick the boxes, that are still really good, don't seem to get any... Is that the same trend?
Well, it's funny. With the Game Awards, I feel like it's about 1/4 games, and then you've got more trailers, and then the rest is corporate cringe and advertisement. And there's a whole... We could make separate videos into this, but I think if we're talking about awards specifically, a lot of it, I would just say outright, is rigged. Partly, I don't think it's so much about ticking boxes, but more about who is in whose pocket. A lot of the Game Awards stuff is a lot of PlayStation exclusives. They win a lot of awards for some unknown reason. I mean, it could be that they're good games, but also sometimes you're like, was The Last of Us really the best adaptation to the, live action? Or, was the Mario movie better? I don't know. Which would you prefer?
Mario, I had criticisms of the Mario movie, but I prefer that over the Last of Us TV show by a mile.
And have you played Alan Wake 2?
No.
Have you heard about it much?
I've heard that it went super woke.
Yeah, because it's just all over the Game Awards. Like it's.
Oh, really? See, that's what I mean.
Best narrative, a bunch of other listing of things. Yeah.
But I heard it got heaps of criticism on a technical and kind of.
Did it?
Did it?
I don't know, because I'll be honest with you, Shad, I don't really care about Alan Wake 2.
Neither do I, because I heard it was super woke. And I don't want to be propagandized to in video games. And when I say propagandized, right? Universal messages, I think, are actually great and important. Those should be messages that, regardless of the political aisle, everyone kind of agrees on. Even though modern day, certain universal messages that men need to stand up and do the, masculine kind of heroic thing and stuff, that's now problematic. And that's why it's getting subverted. When back in the day, that was just the superhero kind of theme, right? So once upon a time, we could agree on those. But now, it's about political messaging. And I don't want to get propaganda. And especially in, if it's media that is accessible to children, there are certain things that are inappropriate for children, absolutely, that it should not be in that media. And when I see it being pushed because they want to take away the rights parents have to choose when to talk to their kids about certain topics, right? There's no, we need to take that role away from them and push it into children's media or media accessible by children. I'm like, I'm out. There are a lot of other games over here that don't do that. I'll enjoy those.
I think that's some of the biggest... Because I've been to other Game Award events, and the vibe of them is very different. This one is probably the most corporate, and because it is live streamed and lots of gamers watch it, it is being commercialized a lot because advertisers and even the people who are getting Game Awards are like, well, this is free marketing for us in terms of this. So the thing that annoys me the most is that it actually isn't a genuine celebration of game achievements. It is rather people who have the biggest checks, Sony, PlayStation, they're the ones that end up getting a lot of the screen time, and they get to push the things that they want. And then there's also the parts where no one cares about certain things. Me and Tyranth were watching a little bit before, during editing, other things, and there were just some segments and elements of it that you think, this is a waste of time and money. Why are you doing this contemporary dance of Alan Wake 2 while you're all doing... or there's another time where they're like, there's this new unreleased game that's not out yet. Listen to the 5-minute soundtrack theme. And you sit there and you go, well, I have no connection to this. I don't care about this IP. Why are you showing me this? There's just a lot of corporate crap going on that I'm just not a fan of. And I feel like it's getting worse and worse each year. And the thing is with the awards, when they actually get to give an award to someone who's worked really hard for it, you know, someone you think, on principle, you deserved, your 5 minutes of fame. They'll go, the best mobile game is this game, thank you. Next person. But then, when it's like a best narrative, we'll give you 8 minutes long. Or the best, one of the actors for Baldur's Gate 3 won a best character award, and he got 7 minutes to bask in his glory with his black nail polish. Which, for some of us, we're like, why are you wearing black nail polish? Things like that where you go, okay, clearly you can see who is more favoritism in the Game Awards.
Yeah. Now, Alan Wake, right? When I say there was negativity on a technical level, these are just comments I kind of saw on Twitter and stuff. But larger criticisms against it were, what I kind of heard, was subverting some actual,
story elements?
Story elements that should have been canon for, ideological reasons and stuff. So that's where I was kind of coming from there. I wonder how, worthy it really is to get all these awards. And I just do find it interesting that it seems to be the very tick box games that seem to be getting a lot of them.
You just reminded me of a conversation me and Tyranth have been having all year. See, he loves Hogwarts Legacy. Mm-hmm. It came out March this year.
Yeah.
Not a single mention of it at the Game Awards.
Did it win a single award?
It wasn't even mentioned. Even in the
that was a huge game!
In the highlights, you have the new Star Wars game, you have Apex, you have all this other stuff. Hogwarts Legacy, nowhere to be seen.
Do you see why we have this skepticism?
Yet Alan Wake 2, which came out in October, wins 8 awards!
Hogwarts Legacy was huge!
Yeah, and people liked it.
And it's not even on the radar.
Not even on the radar.
I wonder why. Right? Now, the game that won Game of the Year has just come out was Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes.
This is an interesting one because, look, the report is that there is a lot to praise about Baldur's Gate 3. And I have liked Larian's mentality in terms of making a solid game with very few bugs, with deep mechanics that is not, corrupted by insane amounts of microtransactions. And Larian actually has a pretty good customer service philosophy. Baldur's Gate 3 is insanely woke in terms of its, let's just call it diversity and stuff. All right? And so it certainly ticks the boxes, yet there is also merit to praise in the game.
Yes.
So I'm not necessarily surprised that it won for two reasons. It's a good game, but it's also ticking all the boxes. Do you think that there were other contenders that should have been more possible to get Game of the Year over Baldur's Gate 3?
It's a tricky question. I think Hogwarts Legacy could have been up there because when it first came out, everyone was playing it, everyone was buying it. It was it made a big splash, and it made an even bigger splash when you have things connected with J.K. Rowling and all the controversial issues around that. And yet this one, I felt like they completely ignored it because they were too afraid of complimenting a game on its actual success.
What about the Zelda one?
Zelda one, it was in runner-up.
Runner-up, okay.
So I think they won a few awards. Nintendo stuff, they always...
Elden Ring was last year.
Yeah, they were last year, and they won.
They won, good. See, all right. There's the one that I might be like, it's okay. That seems more fair.
Yes. But then I don't know.
Still, the fact that it seems like the awards are still happening. Maybe Hogwarts Legacy will get something, but the fact that so far it's not even on the radar, that makes me think because that got such a backlash because of J.K. Rowling, which wasn't even... The game has their representation.
That's the thing. If you remove J.K. Rowling from all of that equation, it fits
the same game!
It fits in with Baldur's Gate and being just as diverse, because... I don't want to say anything that's going to get me cancelled, but there's some things where you go, my experience has been ruined because you reminded me of modern day politics rather than this fantasy world.
The thing that that they did with Hogwarts Legacy, I actually find really funny and almost commendable. So when I say they have the representation, there is clearly a trans character in it, but they couldn't the mob they're trying to appease will never be accepted because the character has a distinctly masculine voice. And so they got criticized for it, right? And then I'm thinking, what do you actually want? Because if the character was so convincingly, trans that they the term is passed that you can't tell if they're trans or not, you wouldn't be able to know if there's a trans representation in the game. And so to let people more clearly know there's trans representation, they made it more... You could say a more stereotypical representative example of a trans person, which usually are not that convincing and has a very distinct tone in voice difference.
You can't please them. I remember seeing on Twitter, there was someone very left-leaning who they worked on the game. They worked for a motion capture studio that did work for them. And they were like, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm credited in Hogwarts Legacy. Please, I needed the paycheck. I needed to pay rent. Like, I know it wasn't the right moral thing to do. And I've thought tirelessly each night, sleepless nights trying to figure out whether or not this was the right thing to do. And everyone was just attacking them, being like, well, you should have ended up on the streets before, working for this company. And it's like, well, he didn't work for the company. He was doing contract work for someone else. And even then, it's like, there is no pleasing them. Once they have a target of what they want, they will do everything they can to meet the means of the end. Like, it's
so funny, and like you'll never appease them all,
no.
Right? This is why what Elon Musk said recently when people are trying to attack him for standing up for free speech and having Twitter, and he just says, "Go F yourself." It's like, that's a refreshing response, because more often it's the response that you're describing is like, I needed the money. No, I'm just, and for me being associated, we're in a clown world. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's basically most of my thoughts of the list. I just think about the...
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like Game Awards are still going, there's not much interest for me to think that they have a lot of merit behind them. Elden Ring, okay, good. Yeah. I'll give you credit to Elden Ring last year. That deserved it. But there's still warning signs. The fact that, again, Hogwarts Legacy, completely not even there.
I think it is less now of an award ceremony, more of a game reveal, because E3 and stuff are no longer happening. It's the end of the year. There's more trailers than there are awards, basically, now. And that's where they got the money. Like, I know, like, Fortnite is plastered all over the Game Awards ceremony. Alan Wake is an Epic Games exclusive on PC. That's why I didn't play it, because it's not on Steam. Okay, I'm a Valve fanboy. I'm sorry. And it's just... I'm sick of games, especially in America, being so corporate. Because... Shad, that's only half of the sandwich. The other stuff is the guest appearances. They get Hollywood actors. We got Gonzo, the Muppet...
Really?
To come in and announce an award?
Who was that guy from the Today Show or something like that when they were advertising, and I forget the game, was it some Call of Duty game? But Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
They got Trevor Noah as like the main talking host to advertise a game. I was like, gamers don't give a crap about this guy. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But I'll give him a pass. Keanu Reeves. Yes.
We're all good.
Keanu Reeves, you're allowed.
He's allowed. But then again, it made sense for him because he was...
He's in the game!
He was in a game! They got... Tyranth, who was it? Was it Matthew McConaughey? Yeah. They did it's not an Interstellar game, but he came on stage to announce a game that was like Interstellar. But...
You know what gamers would actually react to more? Prominent game reviewers that are respected in the community. Don't you reckon?
No.
Why?
Because they're cringe. They're very...
Like good game reviewers, I'm talking about.
I mean, have you seen people on stage, Shad? Like, they do not... Like, imagine they had a recent TikToker ceremony, and it was just... Oh, what was it? Was it the
maybe I'm wrong.
streamies? It was the streamies they had recently, and it was all a bunch of influencers in the crowd, and they're all making bad jokes, and it was the most painful thing to watch.
I do hate influencers, right?
Yeah.
I don't identify as an influencer.
And we respect that statement.
We have a video on the problem with influencers. Go check it out. So you might be right. But then who? Who would you like? Do you just to the game devs to do anything? Or get the game promotion out of the awards?
The thing is, they need it because that gives them money to do the awards in the first place. I think the smartest thing to do is... Sure, when you have an announcement for a game, it's their marketing budget. They can do and hire whatever celebrity they want. But when it's an actual game award, maybe instead of having a Muppet to, announce an award, maybe have a prominent game developer. Even you don't have the developers themselves, but people who work in PR or who can actually present themselves.
So when I say that game reviewer, the game reviewer I have in mind that I actually think does a good job on reviews and is pretty objective in terms of the games. I know we disagree politically a lot, right? And he has spouted off and said stupid things on social media, but in terms of the core content that what he provides, pretty Skill Up. What do you think? I thought Skill Up wouldn't he kind of work better, be received more positively in the community?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Well, they had one of the Critical Role. Who's the one that does the dungeon mastering? Or the game mastering?
The guy, yeah.
Yeah, he showed up and
Mercer,
stuff.
I think.
Everyone was like, "Ooh," and they were happy with that. But then when you have...
Because he did certain voice work in Baldur's Gate.
Yes, yeah. So I'm pretty sure he
did the voice of Minsk, actually. And so, okay, I kind of get that.
See, it's weird because I feel like the Game Awards, half of it is correct in the right direction, and the other half they go completely, off an edge, and you kind of...
People like Trevor Noah. I know he wasn't in this awards ceremony.
But yeah, in previous ones. Just...
Maybe they just need to pick the right one. Because like Keanu Reeves, he was the right one.
He was the right one. But yeah, I think the thing I take away from this is, I'm sorry, Americans, but your corporate people just make me shiver and ugh.
I think a lot of people are getting annoyed with the corporatism of a lot of things because that's what's making terrible games as well.
Yeah.
The whole microtransaction bullcrap that we're seeing and, push it out with insane amounts of bugs and then fixes after the fact. And live service games and everything. It all... But that's why Larian actually does stand out a bit because they don't do that crap. So... I could see that they deserve the Game of the Year.
I'm not surprised. I'm just saying it's not the game for me. Because I'm worried that the next 10 years is going to be Witcher 4 with dice rolls.
What's wrong with dice rolls?
Fallout 5 with dice rolls.
What's wrong with
Skyrim
dice
6
rolls?
with dice rolls. It's a video game, Shad! But a computer does the dice roll!
Tactical role-playing games!
in a video game!
They're a staple of video games! This is what's the fun! No!
Nathan is correct on this. I have to come in because, Shad, nobody wants dice rolls in their games.
Baldur's Gate 1 and 2! Friggin' great!
Play a board game!
Divinity Original Sin 2! What's crazy about this?